What some people don't know is that I used to train the Utah Jazz dancers. I did it for a decade. Well, let's say 9 years, the better part of a decade. And the only reason why you wouldn't know that is because we haven't been talking for the last 2 minutes, because generally I will drop that info on you as soon in a conversation as I can. I'm really quite proud of it. I enjoyed it a lot, and we used to do this thing. Years ago, not years ago, but every summer we would do this thing where we would bring girls in and we'd call it a Utah Jazz Dancer Boot Camp, where 2 times a day I would work these poor girls out. We would beat the loving hell out of them. And then Jan, their excellent choreographer, Jan Whitaker, would teach them some dances. And it was a great experience. At the end of the week-long hell beatings, we would sit down with each individual and we'd give them some advice. And in some cases, they needed just a little cleaning up in order to appear ready for the Utah Jazz dancers, because there is a look they're looking for. They had to look a certain way. And I would give them the following advice that I would now like to share with you. And you should know that sometimes when I would give this advice, a girl would come back to jazz dancer tryouts, like, I don't know, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and be so different that I didn't recognize her on first glance. I know that sounds like hyperbolic, but it is true. And in general, they would give the following 3 things the credit for that. And here's how it worked. Actually, let's say 4. I'm going to give you a bonus one. Okay. The first one is you have to know your calories. You gotta know your calories, right? I know this isn't a calorie game anymore. I get that. But it's still a piece of it. It's still a piece of the game. Go to caloriecount.com, find out exactly how many calories you need to begin losing weight. And I would suggest that right off the bat, you shave about 500 calories off of what you need daily. Neil, that sounds like cookie cutter vanilla advice. I know. Just pair it with some of this other stuff. The second piece of advice: don't eat bread. Don't eat bread. Don't eat rice. Don't eat crackers. Don't eat those little cheddar cheese, what are they, fish? Those cheddar chip fishes, whatever they are. Don't eat those either. Don't eat any of it. Stay away from it. Stay away from potatoes. Just for 3 weeks, just for a little while. While you're slimming off, while you're trimming up, just stay away from it for a little while. This right here, you wouldn't believe how much inflammation is related to that. And sometimes it's not fat. Sometimes it's not. I know, that's not always the most popular piece of advice. Now, next one. You're not allowed to eat sweets for sweet sake. Okay, if there's sugar in your bread, that's fine. You may eat it, but only if it's put there because that's part of the ingredients. If the ingredients are that it's banana bread or chocolate bread and it's there for sweet sake, you're not allowed to eat it. Nothing sweet. Leave it alone for a little while. Again, there's an inflammation issue here. There's also the purpose behind knowing your macros is knowing what those sweets do to your body. So understand that a lot of times when we stop eating sweets, and trust me, it takes 3 or 4 days, up to a week for some of you, your body will start letting go. It does. It just starts letting go. How do you know it lets go? When I do it, I start getting a headache at about day 3. Well, that must be bad for you. No, that's just my body wanting more, and it is. Here's my last little piece of advice, and this is the one that I would always give to everybody. You are to run I need you to run, if you're able, 5 to 7 miles a week. 5 to 7 miles a week. That's all you get. 5 to 7 miles a week. You may not run 10. If you try to run 10, your body will rebel and it'll start holding on to weight. And we'll have a video about that a little bit later. Just know, I need you to run. I need you running. I don't know what the magic is in running, and I get that some of us can't run. And if you can't run, fine, make up for it in some other way. But make that other way something like walking hard and fast. The rest of you that can run, please run. You need to run, but understand that it needs to be about 5 miles and no more than 7 per week. We'll talk about why later, but just trust me. TYT. Trust your trainer. This is good advice, and it makes a ton of change. Let me know what some of your secrets are down in the comments below, and let's share them around a little bit.